golfer. Played 10 years with the Eagles, 11 years with the Eagles.
11 years.
He was a three-time Pro Bowl player, was All-Pro in 2002, and, of course, he went to the Super Bowl. Let's go to the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room former offensive lineman for the Eagles, Trey Thomas. Trey, welcome into the locker room.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yo, Trey, man, I hear you're a scratch golfer.
I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it.
He is working on it.
Handicap is dropping every time the gap releases my handicap, it's coming down. So
it's going in the right direction, right, Trey?
Yeah, I'm about 6 months into golf right now, so it's coming around.
That's what Scooter McKay was telling me. He says, "Yeah, Trey, he's only been playing golf for 6 months. A guy can hit the ball a country mile, and he's pretty accurate, pretty straight. A couple slices here and there, but that's pretty incredible. You don't just pick up a golf club and start doing as well as you are."
Man, but I put in a lot of time. I'm always at the driving range. I'm always playing. I played probably 5 tournaments last week. So,
wow.
It's so I've been all over and I just get it in all the time, and I went and played yesterday. So I played the day before. So I'm always, just playing.
I'll tell you what, Trey, I was telling Billy before the show, I said, it's a very humbling game. And even if you're a great athlete, it can really drive you crazy. But you're doing what most people don't do. I mean, I don't pick up a club between tournaments typically. I don't go to. You're going to the range, and that's just going to change the way you play. And it's going to be, you're already a good golfer, and you're going to become a great golfer. It's great.
Yeah, I'm always at the range. So right now I'm getting ready for this wine fest, and then I'm like, all right, I have my clubs in the back of the car just in case I can break away, go hit a couple balls, and then come back and break everything down. So it's all designed around golf.
All right, Trey. We want to talk a little Eagles football with you. Of course, you had a great career, 3-time Pro Bowl, All-Pro. Offensive lineman in 2002. So I can't think of a better person to talk about the offensive line than with you. Trey, as an offensive lineman obviously prefer to run the ball rather than pass protect. Is that true?
Some do. It depends on the player. I myself, I prefer pass protection just because that's what I came up in. Coming in from college, at Florida State, we always ran a 2-point stance, no huddle. It was pass and then in outside zone plays. So run blocking I always kind of struggle with just because of my height. I guess everybody thinks that all big offensive linemen can just go out and run block. Well, it's not as easy when you're standing 6'7". Now, if you're around 6'4", 6'5", where you're a little bit shorter, where you can get up under a defensive lineman a little bit more, then it changes the game. But for myself, I was always a taller guy, so I kind of struggled with run blocking, but pass protection was just my thing. That's what you brought me in to do. You brought me in to be the blindside protector.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
I was going to go up against all your speed rush guys. So I enjoy pass rush.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think Brian Westbrook felt that you didn't do your job over there as a run blocker either, because his career was at his best when you were there.
Right.
Well, and we got it done. I mean, it's not that, I was good enough at it. It just wasn't something that I preferred to do.
Right.
I would much rather, now, if it's goal line, then of course I want to go ahead and pound it and let's get it out of the way. But I prefer pass protection myself.
We're talking with Trey Thomas, former Eagle, All-Pro, great offensive lineman, and of course you played in the Super Bowl, and that had to be a heartbreak for you, Trey. Having such a great year and making it all the way and coming so close. Tell us a little bit about that experience for our listeners.
Well, the Super Bowl was just really cool, because it's the game of all games when it comes to football. You're on the big stage. Everything is right there for you. And we just didn't do enough to get the win. When you're dealing with New England Patriots, man, they're a tough team to go to battle with. Bill Belichick, one of my favorite coaches. Just because he's like one of those guys that, hey man, you caught me. So what are you going? You got to change the rules next year. You know what I'm saying? So he's just like one of those outside of the box thinking guys. Just always on cutting edge of just doing something different, of finding a way to change the rules to kind of sway in his favor, and then you just got to change the rules for next year. But I just feel like he masters that coaching in the grade sometimes. But he has the Super Bowl rings behind it.
Yeah, Billy and I talked about, after I had met you on Monday and we got you to come in here. I talked about, as an offensive lineman, you can't take any time off. There is no plays to take
Great
off.
point,
I mean,
Scooter.
you're every day someone's trying to run you over. Every play they're going after you. They're trying to get by you. And where a receivers is,
well, if you're on the other, if the play's going to the right, the receiver on the left-hand side, he's pretty much coasting.
Right, he's just taking the play off basically. But for an offensive, and I told you my ex-roommate Mike Shad was in a left guard for the Eagles for 5 years, and same thing with him. I used to see him wake up on Monday mornings. He's like, oh, and I'm like, because you're getting pounded at by guys all day long.
All day long, all day, every day,
right.
even in practice.
Right.
Especially back during that era, during the era that we came up in. It was even in practice. So it's a physical position. It's just one of those positions where you're always in a fight, no matter what. Because even if you do take that play off on the backside, well, then now that backside linebacker is the one that's coming through clean and making the play in the backfield. So you can't, as an offensive line unit, you cannot afford to take plays off.
We're talking with Trey Thomas, former Eagle, great offensive lineman, and Trey, obviously you played for Andy Reid for a long time, and the Eagles are going to be going up against the Chiefs this week. What kind of coach was Andy Reid to you, and was he a player's coach?
I think that he started becoming a player's coach towards the end. Especially first of all, when Coach Reid first came in, because I was part of Ray Rose's last draft class.
Okay.
And so it was a totally different dynamic with Ray Rhodes. When Coach Reid came in, he had to be the iron fist to come in and get everybody in check. Let's lay down the rules, lay down the law. That's going to be my way, or you can hit the road, and let's get everybody on point. And I think that, towards the end, he started becoming more. Once you have your core guys there that understand what the coach is looking for, then now you can kind of release the reins, because your core guys or your leaders and your team are pretty much policing everybody anyway, so you don't have to worry about it as much as you had to when you first came in.
Trey, the Eagles play the Chiefs this week. You follow the Eagles. You watch a lot of games. I mean, you were coaching a couple years back, right? You were on the Chips. You were on Chips. Talk about a little bit about the responsibility of coaching as different. What's it different than being a player? Like the preparation. You got to get the guys as a professional athlete. You know how to get yourself ready. But as a coach, what do you have to do as a coach to get the players ready?
I guess as a coach, you want to give them all the looks that they need to see. And that's, because as a coach, there's way more film study that's going into preparing for this particular game. Because you have to come in and you have to draw up all the plays. You have to draw up the plays against certain fronts, because now you might be going up against a team like the Eagles that are a 4-3 front, but then now you go up against someone like Pittsburgh who's a 3-4, so you have to come in and you have to redraw all of the plays because you might have different coverage combinations that you have to look at, different keys that you want to point out that the players are doing that you have to kind of show your players, because as a player, you just want to come in, it's already kind of divvied up the way you want it. So you come in, you watch whatever film that the coaches have already prepared for you to watch. And then as far as practice, you get out there and you might have a guy give you a certain type of look based off of what you've seen on film or what the coach has already pointed out to you. You know what I'm saying? So It's like you just kind of spoon feed the players. So the coaching aspect of it is just you have to be a film junkie when it comes to being a coach, because you have to really be in on the game plan and really putting it all together. Because as a player, you're just going out and executing the game plan.
Hey, Trey, this is Josh. Football is supposed to be the ultimate team sport, but in a lot of ways, the offensive linemen don't always get a lot of recognition. So talk to the audience for a little bit about what goes into being an offensive lineman in the NFL.
Well, first of all, it's funny because when I meet people, and they're like, man, and they're like, people are like, I know your name, but I really don't know you. And I'm like, you know what, really, at the end of the day, that's good. Because, as an offensive lineman, the only time we have our name called out is in introduction. The only time an offensive lineman really wants to hear his name and number is during introductions. And you know what I'm saying? Because
you don't hear the referee calling your name.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because any other time that an offensive lineman name and number is called, it's because of a penalty. You know what I'm saying? So it got to the point where I'm like, don't even call my name in introductions. Just say, hey, here's a group of guys. You know, and we just all run out. You know, because I don't even want to hear my name and number called, because if it is, it's usually because I messed up. You know, you know, and we try to keep that to a minimum. You know,
that's right.
You know,
you did a good job of that too.
Yeah, man. But as officer, it's just, man, you're the grunts. You're the one. You make everything work. If the receiver goes out and has this massive game, and the quarterback had this awesome game, well, it was because the offensive line kept him clean for over 2.5 seconds. If a running back went out there and ran for 200 yards, he's gonna get all the accolades. But it was because the offensive line got him to the safety every time. So you should have 200 yards when the offensive lineman get into your safety, if you always only have to deal with the safety.
Well, Scooter, we got to get Trey Thomas in the Eagles Hall of Fame, because if there were, they went to the Super Bowl on his back, basically.
Absolutely, they did. We're gonna
get a campaign for you.
A little petition.
Yeah, get a campaign, man. Campaign for you.
Let's go.
Get in there.
We're gonna get invited to the party, though.
Oh yeah, we want to be invited to the party.
Of course. Yeah, we're gonna play around the golf. And then we go to the whatever it is.
There you go.
It's all around golf, though. It's like, wait a minute, wait. What time is the party? Can we get a tea time in before we go to the party? Because we need to get that in.
It's funny, Trey. When I called your store, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, the lady says, "Oh yeah, I'll get the message to him." I said, "Well, I just saw him Monday we were golfing," and she went, "Oh," like almost like I said, "Did I blow that or something?" Whatever. She thought you told him you were doing a business thing or something like that. So.
No, well, you know what? No, my wife always knows. Right. My wife is, because she's like, hey, yeah, just go ahead, please, because you get on my nerves when I see you all the time. So,
that's right.
That's what,
She puts your bags at the front door, tells you to go?
Yeah. No, she knows that. Well, she just gives me my shoes, because my bag is always in my car.
That's right.
So, the bag is always in the car. So she's like, hey, hold on, don't forget your shoes, because I don't need you to turn around and come back, and then now you're bugging me about something. So she's always like, oh, please go play golf, go do something. But no, my wife is always cool about it. That's the one thing that's really cool. She's like, go ahead, don't worry about it.
Hey Trey, we were mentioning you mentioned the Eagles Hall of Fame, but a guy who you played with is again on the list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that's Brian Dawkins. And a lot of times safeties, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, don't get enough recognition, whereas Dawkins, you could argue, is one of the best safeties of all time. Talk about what it was like to play with a guy like Brian Dawkins.
Man, Brian Dawkins was just such a ball of energy, man. It was just ridiculous, the aggression that he would play with, but then have the control that he had to kind of, because I would always talk to Dawg, because, just being a Christian man myself, I'm like, Dawg, man, how do you play so aggressive, but then you can control what you say to people, and how you talk, because I'm like, look, I can only be one way. When I'm out there playing like that, I'm cussing everybody out. The referees, everybody getting cussed out. You know what I mean? But Dawg will go out there and hit somebody and just be like, doggone it. And I'm like, huh? That just don't sound right to me, dog. But you come out there bouncing around and just all the energy and muscles and veins and everything, and just how he was. But he was just such a cool cat off the field and just so laid back. It was just awesome to be around someone like that put that type of work in and would just put his body in harm's way and didn't think anything about it and go and try to play to take your head off, but then we'll pray for you right afterwards, after he takes your head off, and that's good, and that, but that's how he was, and I would always talk to him about that. But he was super cool though, and you have to be super cool and have those different alternate egos when you have two lockers in the locker room, though.
It's tough to turn that switch on and off too, like that. Yeah,
but he had two lockers. You had Weapon X and you had Brian Dawkins' locker. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So he had his own two lockers. I'm like, well, dang, how do I get on that list? Can I get a, maybe I need to create an alter ego for myself so I can get two lockers. But it was cool though, man.
We have to curb our mouths in here too at the radio. That makes it tough.
Yeah, you got to watch out what you say before you say it here in the radio.
But hey, listen, Trey. We appreciate you coming on, but we wanted to talk about after your football career, your wife and you open up a business, and I think it's Pino's Palette.
Yeah, tell us a little bit
about what
you're
Tell us
doing.
a little about what you're doing so we can get it out to the listeners.
Oh man, Pino's Palette. We do paintings. You know, it's a wine and sip where you come out, you do the paintings. You bring it's BYOB. You bring your wine. We do house parties because we have a mobile aspect of our business as well. So we come and do house parties. We go to wineries right now. We're at Valenzano's right now at Wine Fest. So we're doing like some canvas bags, doing some stuff, painting on canvas bags. We do beer mug paintings. We paint, you know, and it's a lot of fun. It's something different that I didn't think I would be into, you know, especially, you know, coming off of, you know, I was super macho at the time, you know, I was like, you know, I was chewing on glass and you know, and just spitting rocks. So, you know, once my wife took me to a date night one time and we started doing the paint class, of course, my first painting, I was just like, you know what, I'm not digging this.
Yeah, regular Rembrandt.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you wear a skirt for that one?
No, but I do have a brush kit, and, you know what I'm saying.
You get introspective.
With wine glasses.
All right, listen.
You know, I drink with stem wine glasses. You know, it's a certain type of level of of Von Sway I have to bring to it.
Give us the information. How do people go? What's your website?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with PinosPalette.com is Cherry Hill Pinos Palette, and just reach out to us if you ever want to have a party. We can do anywhere within a 100-mile radius of our facility. Like one of the things I'm really want to do, especially since being up in this area, started doing outdoor paintings and painting the scenery that we see, you know, because you just have so many different nice areas outside that you can just go out and paint, post up with a canvas and an easel and have some paint and just spread a little paint on the canvas, see what you come out with.
All right, Trey Thomas. Well, listen, man, we're going to have you come into the locker room, hang out with us one Saturday, and then we'll take you down to Great Bay Country Club, and we'll whack the ball around a little bit.
Definitely. We definitely have to get around the golf end, though. We have to get around the golf end.
All right, Trey, we got to run. Listen, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. See you, Trey.
All right.
There's Trey Thomas on the Tom's River Volkswagen Sports